Happy and his pal, a robotic stowaway named Half, are on a mission. Find whoever stole Half's missing pieces and get those pieces back. After promising each other that they'd pursue even the faintest of clues to the furthest of corners, our spacefaring duo have bounced from one adventure to the next, hoping that eventually they'll end up in the right place at the right time. Their next stop, a tiny little oasis on a giant planet of star-spewing volcanoes, a place where robots melt and humans bake, and magic-imbued stars rule the land, or so they think. Happy Astronaut is perfect for readers of all ages, filled with action, humor, and heart. This debut issue will have many exciting covers to choose from, including a blank sketch cover variant to commission your very own cover. Pre-order Happy Astronaut #1 from your local comic book shop or directly from keenspotshop.com.
Oh yeah, man. Famous cartoonist Art Balthazar. As you see, Abraham Lincoln is with me, and we are watching, and you are watching. Famous cartoonists draw at night. They draw at night by night. We're all here together, man. Buy their comics, buy my comics, shop.
Welcome to Cartoonist by Night. Anthony's here, Fife is here, and Roger's too. Troy is here. Hey, Jughead, where are you? Welcome to the show, everybody. How's it going, fellas?
I'm
Good,
great.
Anthony.
Awesome. I think that was all, cohesive and intelligible. All right, here we go. Welcome to a brand new episode of Cartoonist by Night. We are a group of creative friends that hang out and draw here on Cartoonist by Night on YouTube. So what we are going to do here is reveal the topic, which you may have already seen in the edited version. So the title's probably going to come up. So it's not too much of a surprise. But we are going to be talking and drawing Archie Comics. All right. So Archie Comics, it's a very big topic. We got 80 years of Archie. We're going to talk about each individual year here on this episode, and we're just going to see how long that takes us. But what we're going to do here is kick it off by kind of checking in with each of our cartoonists here to see what we are working on. Let's jump over to Troy if you want to reveal maybe your subject and what you want to tackle today.
I have no clue. Actually, I'm kind of new to the Archie fandom thing, so I was gonna see what you guys are working on. I am sort of partial to the little Archie, like the kid versions. So probably be doing a little Archie, some character in little Archie.
Cool. Let's jump over to Rogers. We are looking at your screen here. What are we looking at?
I'm building my skeleton for my drawing, and it is going to be awesome. I think we're all drawing the same character, if I remember our pre-talk correctly. But we'll see.
It might be a surprise.
We'll see.
All right.
My Archie experience is read it all the time as a kid, because who didn't read Archie when they were a kid? Because it's awesome. You get a double digest for Troy, but he was a pioneer when he was a kid. I don't know what that means, but yeah. And I read it, and then I stopped reading Archie because I got older, and then they started putting out the horror stuff, and it's amazing. Super awesome.
Let's jump over to Fife. What are we going to be looking at on your side of the screen? Do you have?
Well, I found
I
believe it's a sketch cover by Bill Galvin of Jughead as Captain Hero. I'm gonna try and share my screen, but I'm not sure. Okay, yep. Share.
So we're gonna get a little look here at Fife, and gonna go through and do some digital tracing to.
Is it sharing?
We see
Yeah.
it.
Okay, that's what I'm going to trace.
Awesome.
My history with Archie is I had some digests when I was a kid. And then like Roger said, I grew up and fell away from Archie, and then not just the horror stuff, but Francesco Francavilla coming on, doing the Afterlife with Archie variant cover for Life with Archie, which I have. I'll grab that. Then the the Afterlife with Archie horror line. I don't know if these will show up. They won't. And then the Archie relaunch with Mark Waid and Fiona Staples and all the creators that came after that was just amazing. And
2015,
at some point in time, I fell off of it, but now I'm getting back on because Archie is forever.
Archie is always going to be forever. It's going to outlive everybody here in this Zoom screen. So I am going to jump in, and I have my iPad connected here for the first time for our recording to kind of share what's happening on my side with the iPad. So this is what I am going to be working on, which will be popping up in just a second. This is based off of an idea from a friend. I am going to be doing what is called Creature from the Betty Lagoon.
I
Now,
love
you all might be wondering, what that means. My friend David Gloyd, who is the co-founder of Crimson Cowl Media, former owner of the storefront store for Crimson Cowl Comics and Collectibles, which the Crimson Cowl Comic Club was born. I would always bring the Archie horror books as of late to the table and talk about them. And you'd start to see like Vampironica happen and Jughead the Hunger, and you see all these different spin-offs. And David Cloyd is the one that goes something along the lines of like, oh, next they'll do Creature from the Betty Lagoon. And he said that maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, and I have not stopped thinking about it. And I just finally decided, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to draw as if that's a thing. And I didn't know what I was going to do with it. And for the sake of this show and for the sake of me drawing, I'm going to do all my pencils ahead of time. So you're going to see this here as I go through an ink and color. But I wanted to do a reverse of the classic Creature from the Black Lagoon movie poster and swap the characters. And so yeah, this is what's going to happen over on my side.
I love that. I
I
absolutely
missed all of it.
love that.
So yeah, we're going to jump in, and as we do that, me and Fife will periodically share our screens to kind of show our process. We'll see Troy switch to his physical drawing. We've got Roger's got a picture-in-picture going on over there with his screen. And throughout the show, I've got a couple fan mail pieces to share and a lot of fun stuff to share from myself and Troy that is Archie related. So, yeah, feel free to dive in, and I'll start guiding us along as we go through this here. And what I want to bring up first, you guys jumped the gun on me a little because I had it all prepared that talking about how we got into Archie Comics. Because our first fan mail question comes from Nikki, who is my friend that commented on the first episode. She is
Hey.
asking what drew, pun intended, each of you to Archie in the first place. So it is a little bit of a spin on what we kind of talked about. So let's start with Troy, who said he's the newbie to the Archie universe, on what kind of drew you to this publisher.
You guys.
Oh,
I knew that you guys were into it. There's there's a clip on or of from the Big Bang Theory. I think I showed it to you at one point, Anthony, where it's got Penny's boyfriend goes with the guys to a comic shop, and he's like, "Where's the Archies?" And Sheldon says they're on the nightstands of 10-year-old girls where they belong, or something along that lines. And that's sort of my thought on it, or had been my thought on it. And even my daughter, she had a Betty and Veronica subscription for like 3 years.
Oh, cool.
And she had me read like a couple of them here and there that she thought were funny, but by and large, I hadn't looked at much of them at all. And then when you guys were discussing it periodically, I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll give it a shot. And when I did, I just found it to be freaking delightful. Very, very charming, low stress, easy, I guess, Americana type stuff,
Except for
It's
that punk Reggie.
nothing
Oh.
real heavy. Yeah, Reggie's sort of a
Reggie's
Oop.
completely a dude.
sorry.
Yeah, I might have to. I'll figure out the Archie censor for that one.
Sugar.
Yeah,
I
there
was
you go.
about to say, Archie's a sugar, or Reggie.
Sorry for
The-
interrupting you, Troy.
No, and then so I probably picked a couple of them up at the grocery store, and then I ordered the horror stuff. I like werewolves and vampires more than I like zombies, so I kind of skipped the Afterlife with Archie. I'm assuming that's zombies. Is that zombies?
Yeah, it's so good. It's
It
called
is the best Archie horror story they told.
Yeah,
Really?
it's
That's
not a
the one
spoiler because it's in the first pages, but like basically Hot Dog is diseased.
Uh-huh.
He attacks Jughead and it's like prom night or something. And then
Mhm.
Jughead shows up to prom and he's just like, "Nah." He's all zombied out. It's so good though.
Do you remember who?
When I made the purchase from Archie Comics, had that sale around Christmas time. When I made that purchase, I got literally all of the horror stuff except for that one.
It's still there. It's probably only, I think they only have 2 volumes out, right? Did they put out a trade with the incomplete story?
I have a trade of it.
They probably have like 9 issues out. I think something along those lines, maybe.
There's 10 issues.
10.
But I didn't know if they ever collected like there's an unfinished arc right now.
Oh,
So-
okay. I have my trade says volume 1 on it. So I don't know, man.
But yeah, so let's jump over to Rogers. We heard your story about, picking up Archie as a kid and all that stuff, but what drew you to Archie?
A lot of it was I probably have, like most people, some sort of ADD, and I really liked the fact that it was all like basically short stories. Everything was like a couple of pages long. It was just quick to the point, and it was awesome. And it's just like it's just fun. It's just simple fun, and it's awesome. This is turning out real bad.
Yeah, it is.
I'm not doing very good with this. With this Jughead drawing.
You'll pull it together. I know you will.
Well,
I tried to shoot you down and tear you apart and make you feel bad about yourself, and I felt bad. So now I'm lifting you up. You'll get it.
I'll never feel bad about myself as long as I'm friends with you.
Fife, let's hear what attracted you to Archie.
Sorry.
What attracted you to Archie Comics, and while you do that, I want to hit the share screen, and we can kind of see what you're doing as you're explaining it, please.
Yeah.
Please.
Give me one second.
Your time's up.
Is
But yeah, kind of going. Okay, now we're jumping over to his screen to kind of. There we go.
so the question was what attracted me to Archie.
Yeah, what drew you to it? What made you notice it?
Um, I think a little bit of what Rogers said. Like I never feel like I have like ADD or anything, but um, I like the fact that it was shorter stories, and they usually ended up in the bathroom, and you could read a few stories real quick while using the bathroom. Um, but I liked how relatable it was, but I thought that as a kid, I think. But then when I got older, I realized it's not relatable at all. Because um
Because you don't even like hamburgers.
I love hamburgers,
Oh,
but
okay.
they make me fat. And
Bread
I
makes you
never
fat.
had two ladies that were all right with me having two ladies or more.
Neither has anyone else.
Speak for yourselves.
I'm pretty sure I'm speaking for you too, sir.
You are. I only said that because my wife's not home.
Uh-oh. There we go. And then what and I don't know what keeps bringing me back to it. Um but it's always seems like a title where I'll lose interest for a little bit, fall behind, not picking it up anymore, and then I'll miss it, and I'll go back and buy all the recent back issues to get caught up. Um, and that's kind of what I'm doing right now with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
would
don't know if all
say
those words went together to make a sentence, but
I think it worked.
okay,
Yeah, that made sense to me.
I'll, I'll take care of it in editing. You'll say something completely different.
cool. Totally
Uh,
appreciate anything.
so I held off on my Archie origin. You guys kind of chimed in on yours. I had always read it as a kid. It was always one of those very accessible through the supermarket checkout lines. A lot of my comics that I would get, whether it's Archie or superhero stuff, Marvel, DC, a lot of that stuff would be from going to garage sales and picking things up and whatever I can get my hands on. And for Archie Comics, it would be no different. If I would see some digest there or at the store, I'd be able to get it, whether my mom let me have one or I would use the money I saved up to buy it. But I always had a couple digests that I would just constantly read over and over again, and just due to the fact that I didn't have like a huge collection. So that went for like normal comics too, where I would just always just keep reading the same thing over and over and over again. And there we go. And the what I wanted to show here is that I actually have some of these digests from my original collection. So we're looking at some Betty and Veronica, got like an annual digest here, but these are the same ones from my childhood that just still stayed with me in a shoebox, going from place to place and collection to collection. I had this another Betty and Veronica digest magazine here. These are all ones that are either from the late 80s or early 90s. But yep, the fact that these are still holding up, and these are the ones I would just constantly go over and over again. And then we have an Archie Digest magazine, which I also happened to notice there's an awesome Captain Planet ad on the back. So that's
Oh,
always,
awesome.
that puts you into a little time period there. And then the other one here, a Brock's Candy one with Gumby and Pokey going on. But yeah, this one here is the one that pretty much I remember just kind of going through all the time, the Betty and Veronica one. And so yeah, those comics. Me and Troy were talking about it earlier, where basically I would always use it as a palate cleanser, and I would, if I'm reading comics and reading some dark stuff, I always have Archie within an arm's reach to basically cleanse the palate, get some fun. You always knew what you're getting. It's reliable. It's silly, it's goofy, and like what Roger's saying, they were short stories, so it was just very digestible, and you could always read them in any order, and you never need to, follow too much of a story. If you get it within a digest, you just get all the different parts, anyways. But yeah, just I love just how accessible it is. And with my love for comic strips, whether it be like Beetle Bailey and picking up like issues of whether it's like Dennis the Menace strips, we're talking Casper, Richie Rich, all of that kind of stuff. Archie was always kind of grouped in for my reading with a lot of that, all those cartoon books. So that's basically my origin when it comes to Archie Comics.
So
Now,
if you go to Archie's website and go to the store, they have these bundles you can buy. And a lot of times, they're very heavily discounted. And you can get a digest pack. And then they just send you this giant box of these comics.
Good Lord.
This was one box that I ordered.
I love it.
And they threw in a free trade of the newer Josie and the Pussycats that came out a few years ago.
Good stuff.
So I got all those, and I would be lying if I said that I have read them all. But they sent, a lot of them are Archie and me, a lot of them are Betty and Veronica, but they sent some that are like these little milestones books.
Yeah.
And those are super cool because it's just like a wide range of stories. And those are awesome. And then I also have to bring up, as soon as I put these things away, oh my God, they're so heavy.
Don't hurt your wrist. You gotta draw. You gotta draw yet.
I don't know if you guys got into Archie the Married Life.
You bet I did.
It's the full big magazine. It's really weird. I felt like a creep buying it because it has ads all over the place for Justin Bieber and Robert Pattinson. But these
Did you
were
get it?
awesome.
You said it's an Archie magazine or is it a Teen Beat magazine? Which one is it?
It looks like it might be both. But I have 12 of those. I don't know how long it went on, but it was really cool with the double story.
It went on for 37 issues.
Oh, wow.
37.
I need to find in a row.
Did you just know that?
I'm working on collecting those.
Yeah, man. I want to find trades. I'm sure.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah,
it's fresh knowledge, like freshly in my brain knowledge.
Yeah, for anyone that doesn't
I was
know,
gonna
it,
say it.
it was a brilliant series that took half the viewpoint was if Archie had married Betty, and half the being if Archie had married Veronica, and just kind of seeing the life paths that everybody takes in those worlds, and you basically satisfied both audiences as far as which one you preferred. But that'll be a question later, so don't jump the gun on the classic 80-year-old question of Betty or Veronica. We will get to that, but we don't want to give that stuff right up front because then everyone's going to turn it off. Everyone's going to have their answer. They're like, "Well, we know everything we need to know, so let's save that till later."
You know, the very moment that I had something to say, you told me not to say it.
Yeah, be quiet, Troy. You're newer to Archie, so you got to follow the rules of tradition here. So,
Yeah.
Nikki has a follow up because she had asked that question, but she goes, for her, it was because that's the only comics that her mom read growing up, so she shared her love of them with her and was always willing to buy her those. I was like reading it first person and then third person, and then I just couldn't make up my mind. So basically, her mom read them, and so her mom kept passed down that tradition.
Nice. That's super cool.
Yeah, and my I don't know if I've said this on another episode
That
or
is
whatever, but nobody in my family was like a comics reader, and that's just something that I, would just pick up on my own. And while I didn't really focus on sports and things like that, especially growing up, I always preferred newspaper comics and comic books and cartoons and stuff like that. So mine I basically had to discover on my own. So And look where it got me now.
Look where it got us.
All right, so that was one question there. What we're gonna do, I have another question from another repeat guest, but I'm gonna hold that off till later because what I wanted to do, I'm gonna go through and remind myself to do the share screen. Um, with me working on the laptop, recording the show, and then I am doing the drawing on an iPad, an old model iPad. I'm not sure if I'm able to ever just kind of get my screen available to be on all the time. Maybe I just don't know the settings, so I will be jumping in here. So what I did so far was do a pretty simple ink on Betty, and I unchecked the layer for the pencils. So I'm kind of showing people here now in the settings where I have it all labeled actually, and that's for my sake of I don't normally do that, but for the sake of this podcast, if you want to call it a podcast, this YouTube show, um, I figured I better label them so I don't like spend like a half hour drawing on the wrong layer and just because I'm not paying attention, 100%. And oh, here's a fun little thing that I just found out here. I'm gonna see if that. Yep, this was on this layer here. So yeah, I had just some random thin line there. But yeah, so I just wanted to show the people out there the progress there. So what I'm gonna do now that I have that done, just so I can concentrate on it, I'm bringing on the creature from the Black Lagoon, or some legal version of it within the concept of Archie Comics, and I will be inking that next. So I just wanted to give a little update on that.
I would imagine that the creature from the
Nice.
Black Lagoon should be public domain by now, right?
Well, I will tell you this. There's an old issue of Jughead that probably had to be in the 50s, early, late 50s, early 60s. There, I don't have it on the. I can. I'll show it to you guys, but I'll probably put it into the post. So there's an issue of Archie's pal Jughead in which the creature is coming out of a swimming pool, and you see that on one of the classic Archie covers. People
Mhm.
at home are seeing the full image in a good quality, not on the screen here. Jughead's like, "Say, Ronnie, just how long has it been since you cleaned out your swimming pool?" And then we see the creature in there. Um, okay, so yeah, so the creature has shown up on that cover, and there's a different cover that I will probably put up right here, but I don't have to show you. I don't have it to show you guys. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, the creature himself is canon for Archie Comics.
Yeah, I would agree.
Now, as I go through and gonna start that, I'm gonna take a look at Troy here. Is there you want to kind of talk us through what's going on your screen, just to let the audience know what you decided on and how it's going?
Baby Betty, or not Baby Betty, Little Betty.
Little bitty.
So I got like hang on, let me find like the little Archies. I kind of like those. I got this one from like a dollar bin at a comic shop in Williamsburg, Virginia, and so I kind of like the little Archies. They allow the artist of little Archies to deviate from the house style a little bit more, and I do kind of dig that. So here's another little Archie by Art Baltazar. I don't know if Franco's involved in that one or not, but let's see. Yeah,
He
Art
wrote
and
that.
so that's what I'm doing is I was gonna do Jughead, but since everybody else is doing Jughead, I thought I would give my second favorite character a little bit of attention.
Well, that
Ew.
means we have
Do you guys
we've got an even split because we got two Bettys and two Juggies.
mhm. Now, okay, never mind. I was gonna jump the gun on the question that you're gonna ask later.
Yeah, we're not getting there yet.
Say shut up, Troy.
All right. So what I will go through now though is one thing I kind of wanted to show off for some share screen stuff is kind of going on whether or not anybody has any commission pieces or original art pages. And I bring that up because I have both. But how about you guys? Has anybody own any original Archie pages at all? Has anyone went down that path?
I have not.
No, I don't own any original artwork at all.
Except
Except
for
for
your
your
own.
own.
Yeah, if anybody
Does that
wants
not count?
to buy any of that, just hit me up. I got plenty.
I
Uh,
my daughter has several. She's got a Betty by Dan Parent, and she's got a Betty by Bill Walko, but we have no idea where those things are.
less cool.
Much less cool.
So yeah, I've got a couple things, and so I'm going to go ahead and do my share screen, and I think I should have this all up here for everybody to look at. Um, so speaking of Dan Parent, the first thing I had him commission was this drawing of me. This is a
Beautiful.
portrait. He did these through the Archie website, especially right when COVID hit and everybody was stuck at home and no conventions and everything like that. So there we go. We have the a portrait of me, kind of in a Dan Parent Archie type of style. And yeah, so I was pretty pumped up for that. And some other things that I got. Dan Parent did this awesome sketch of Betty and Veronica as basically the Silver Cooper and Galactica, he called it, and I think it was a commission. I think it was a commission sketch, and I love Silver Surfer and Galactus, so I had asked for a sketch cover of that. We're at a Silver Surfer Black issue, and so yep, I just said, yeah, I really liked what you did there, and he did a different take on it and full bodies and everything like that. And yeah, he did that so quick at one of the C2E2s, and it was awesome to pick that one up there. So that is a treasured piece for sure. Right. And then I have this I picked up from Rich Koslowski, who is worked a lot with the Sonic the Hedgehog comics over at Archie. He does a lot of inking with Archie Comics. And so yeah, he I picked this up, and it was a pre-made sketch here of Betty with it's a classic and kind of a crazy smile going on there. Her eyes are pretty wide open there, but it's an original sketch there from Rich, so that was a cool one to scoop up.
Caffeinated bit.
Yeah. And this one here, I'm before I show it off, I'm gonna talk about it here. So Robert Hack is the co-creator and artist for the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. So when Archie Comics went down the avenue of Afterlife with Archie, with Roberto Aguirre Sacasa and Francesco Francavilla, they started to do having major success with that. So they went through and did Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, and they actually went back to like the '60s timeline, so it wasn't directly connected to the Afterlife story. And from there, that's when I started noticing Robert Hack's work. Just an awesome horror artist, and uh, I love those Chilling Adventures of Sabrina issues so much. The show's really good too, but the comics really like go way darker, and some of the darkest stuff I've ever read, and I've read those several times, and I love the style. And I even went to they used a lot of music within the comic of just showing that there's singing going on and a soundtrack and in the background of the comic book. So I had even went through and made note of every single song that's referenced throughout that series and made a Chilling Adventure playlist basically. And it's all like 60s music, which I love and everything. Um so Robert Hack, who maybe like once every year or two, he'll do a very impromptu quick live sale, or just kind of a quick auction um in his like Instagram feed, and just post like maybe half a dozen pieces or more, and you can claim them in the comments, and they go by real quick. And I've always tried to have my eyes set on that and trying to scoop them up. I was never quick enough. And then he tweeted out, I woke up one morning in the middle of the night, he had tweeted that there was one of his kind of sketch pieces from Sabrina that was sitting in on an Anthony's art website. It's coincidental, but Anthony's art is an official art dealer, and Anthony's comic art, I think. And it was this
Yeah.
piece with was called Mother and Daughter, and it was Sabrina and Madam Satan. So this piece was called Mother and Daughter, and I saw it 4 hours late. And you have to email Anthony's comic art, and kind of put a claim into it, and they'll check to see who got it first. And it was just listed at a set price, and I'm just like, oh, there's no way I'm getting it. It's been like 4 hours, and I didn't even know this was posted, and it was a very affordable price. And then it was like a day later, I got the notification, yep, it's yours. I'm like, holy crap. So this is an original kind of him just kind of playing around, just kind of sketching out the characters. I don't think this was used for anything beyond him just kind of practicing. And so owning a piece of Robert Hack's Chilling Adventures of Sabrina is just absolutely love it. So yeah,
Nice.
those are some of the pieces that I own. Now to go on with the share screen, Troy, you've done some Archie art, and I have those images here, so I'm going to bring them up. And what are we looking at here? If you want to kind of commentate it for our fans,
Caffeinated Archie.
there's a theme going on here.
Yes.
So how did
That's
this one come about?
that one. I was trying to figure out because I knew how the show that we were going to be doing the show, and I was trying to figure out, how do I draw Archie? And so I was looking for inspiration. And I found Erin Hunting's Archie, and I
Yeah,
think for me, she's just like the gold standard of how to draw kid Archie. And so that's me just basically taking a little bit of what she's done and a little bit of what I would do if I was just drawing a normal kid. Um, I think that one, maybe he came up looking a little bit older, and maybe his freckles are positioned somewhat strangely, but I was pretty happy with it as a general, you know, practice piece.
cool. And I'll jump into the next piece here. And the next one up here, familiar characters. We have a black and white inked Jughead piece. How'd you come about this one?
Same thing, Erin Hunting, just trying to work off of her, the foundation that she set to figure out how I was going to do it. I have a feeling it's going to be that answer for a lot of stuff.
Well, this one here is the next one is pretty awesome. So you decided to pair up some characters here.
That's actually really, really old. I don't know how I came up with that. Um, the Look at me, I'm pointing at it again. Why do I keep doing that? Like people can see what I'm pointing at. So the only thing that I really put any thought into was Betty holding the baseball bat, because I thought, like Rogers had mentioned, or had alluded to, that it is a little bit weird that they're cool with sharing this crush, and they don't seem to have much problem with it. So in my drawing, I decided to give Betty a baseball bat so she can take care of some business.
Love it. All right. Move on to the next piece here from Troy. Coming up. All right. Talk about this one.
Yeah.
Just after Jughead the Hunger, that was the first full Archie comic book that I ever read, and it was super, super good. So I do on my website coloring pages, which I have not updated in a while. But who knows? Maybe because we recorded this and discussed it, maybe I'll actually update it and have that up there when the video comes out.
It'd be awesome. Cool. All right, we'll jump over to the next piece here. All right, I think we have two more from you. So, what's going on in this one here? Talk about it.
That is Little Archie Horror, which I think really needs to happen.
Yes.
Agree.
Little Archies are cool. Archie Horror is cool. Little Archie Horror should happen. It should be it can be like little pieces in the digest here and there, and then collected, printed into little tiny booklets for trick-or-treaters. This is something that has just so much marketing potential. Plus, it'd be fun. So just me wishing that it would happen. So I drew.
I think we are all in agreement on that one that we would be picking that up. So, regardless of knowing you, so
It's a
and now
cool
this
idea.
one here, this one is awesome.
Same thing. Little Archie Horrors. Wish it would happen. I
Basically,
did. When I posted that online, some Archie super fan pointed out that I changed Wolf Jug to Jug Wolf because they always refer to him in the comic as Wolf Jug,
okay.
which I thought was really observant of them. I just don't think Wolf Jug sounds right. Jug Wolf flows off the tongue better.
Agreed.
But yeah, this one,
Urban.
I just love that too. Just kind of making a fake cover, and you got the. I think I'm zooming in here, maybe. Looking at the the original price and then a special price slapped on top of it.
That was kind of me copying Rogers doing the old fashioned look to it.
That is
Yeah,
awesome.
it works out awesome. I love it.
All
You can
right.
rip me off anytime you would like.
I can what
Okay.
now?
You can rip me off anytime you like.
Well, thank you. I'm going to take you up on this. Hey, have you guys heard about my new comic coming out? It's called Astronaut That Is Happy. It's
Ooh.
the dude and his friend that looks kind of like a toaster.
Okay, I'm into it.
Might be onto something here. All right. Now I'm going to let people in on where my progress is. Now, because I'm talking and running share screens and telling stories and answering fan mail, I think a lot of my finished work is going to happen once we end the show and I put up the finished work for the audience here. But what I'm going to do here is showing my screen, and I'm going to take away the creature pencils to kind of show where the creature is at the moment. I got a lot of detail to jump into, so I was going to just kind of focus on that as we get into all of like the gills and all the stuff that's happening. But I got a feeling that once I sit down with this in my normal drawing routine of listening and watching and not having to talk and stuff, I have a feeling that I'm gonna kind of go in and thicken up a lot of lines. But so yeah, I'm just gonna kind of show the process as we go here.
Your tapering is really good on the eyebrows.
Oh yeah, cool.
Go on.
Yeah,
Oh,
please.
yeah,
I'm just like, did I have any?
tapering doesn't come natural to everybody.
Oh, geez. I am going to be extremely flattered once after the show and I look up exactly what definition of tapering. So,
Oh, it's see the eyebrow where it gets kind of tapers off into like a point at the end of your stroke.
right there.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah,
Okay.
that's what I mean.
Yeah. So I've been like, for those wondering, I don't really read anything on how to draw or write materials and such. And I think my iPad is too old for like an Apple Pencil and things like that because I've tried those kind of things and they never seem to work. But I have these super cheap things that are these styluses basically that are extremely small but extremely cheap, and they give you a whole like tons of them. And I
Mhm.
draw with basically this eraser tip, and that might be crazy to some people, and maybe I'd
Yeah.
benefit from getting a better iPad eventually and better programs and tools and stuff, but this is just what I do because I do it for fun. So yeah,
Mm.
that's what I use, and every time I noticed it when watching back on the first episode is how my left arm was just going crazy in the episode, and I called it out, and then Roger started to like notice it too, and because I do a lot of that, the swiping, and I think that's where the tapering comes to get that kind of fine tip there because I'm just kind of just doing some big old swoops with the left hand here. But
Well,
yeah,
it's working. And
plus
I'm
one.
very impressed knowing that you're using like one of those crappy stylists from a gas station.
Yeah,
That's
these
awesome.
are, and it was because it was like $2.99 or $3.99 for like 10 or 12 of these things, and I don't know, I like the feel of it, and it works for me, and I got them laying all over the house, so wherever I'm at, I can just pick up one of these things, and but yeah,
Heck yeah.
but
All
yeah.
right, you may have to edit this part out, Anthony.
Oh,
Um, I am going to step out for just a minute.
sure.
What do you want me to do? Just like stop recording for a second,
I
or
say just keep it on that, and that's fine.
okay.
So yeah, as long as yeah, that's fine. Keeping that on the screen is
Okay. Cool
okay.
beans. All right, I'll be back.
This is for post Anthony to know to jump into what we're doing here. All right, so here we go. So yeah, like I said, like I'm not used to talking while drawing, and then this show is a whole new experience. So doing this is making me probably do things in my inking that I wouldn't normally do. Like maybe I'd spend a little more time on it, make thicker lines here and there. But when people see they'll see the finished work um, in the post production. All right, let's jump over to that very awesome Matt Rogers drawing over there. Why don't you give us some look at what's going on and tell us a little about what you put together?
All right. So if you look at the cover of, I just pulled it up for reference. Old Man Logan number 40. I'm doing a riff on that, but it's going to be Old Man Jughead. And instead of having claws, he has a hot dog because he's Jughead. There's no deeper meaning really. It's just it's just Jughead,
I love it.
old man.
One of my favorite things is like knowing that somebody has a style, like looking at Troy's stuff, looking at Roger's stuff, like there's a certain style that like it's it's one of those things where I'm like, I wish I had a style. Like, I can do like multiple different things where I mimic and follow, just kind of do what other people do. But, it's one of those things where I'm assuming that, you know, it just happens naturally. Is there anything you can kind of talk about, like how you got to this kind of style with your characters and the expressions, the shapes of the faces, while I can realize like, hey, I think the happy astronaut artist drew this Jughead, but at the same time, it's not like it's happy cosplaying as Jughead. I'm just like, oh, this is this person's take as Jughead. That's
Yeah, it's really hard to talk about because it went around on Twitter a little bit where it's like, how did you get on your style? And it's mostly just like, man, I don't even know. Because it's weird because like you can look at I look at reference for everything. It's like I need to know what this looks like. So I'll look at it and then just the way that my brain works is I can just draw that in a style that matches. Like you'll look at an issue this coming August, you will be able to look at an issue of Happy Astronaut #1 from Keenspot, and nothing in that book looks like it doesn't belong there.
Mm.
So I don't really know how to explain it. It's just drawing so much, you know what I mean? Like the more you draw and you keep on drawing, then you eventually have no choice but to bring your own look into it. Because I know like what's his name? Greg Capullo started off as like a Todd aper, if I remember correctly. Like he was brought in to do Spawn, and basically he was taught make it look like Todd drew it. But now you look at his stuff and it doesn't look like Todd drew it. He like has his own style and it works out really well. and I can ape a little bit here and there, but I can't draw realistically because I was like you. I liked comic strips more than comic books, and that's the path I came from.
Yeah, it's a good path.
Well, yeah, it's awesome. It's the best.
That
But-
Jughead looks awesome, by the way.
I've watched you drawing and grow as an artist for 25 years now, Rogers, and I can pull out drawings that you did back then and hold them up side by side with what you're doing now, and there's huge improvement. But you can still tell that it's the same artist. You just have like words,
Signature.
Go on,
Yes.
go on.
A signature.
Yeah,
even not like realizing it or whatever, you've had a style you've carried with you through the years that's just like gotten better and better.
Well, I'm happy that it's gotten better because I've seen some artists that you look at their stuff from 20 years ago and their stuff now, and it's like it looks exactly the same. And well, if you're doing it making money, then more power to you. But I would want to get better and improve. If that makes sense. I'm trying to talk and do this at the same time. It's working out really awesome.
I think we're all learning when it comes to talking and doing.
Right.
Let's
This logo real quick.
jump over to Fife if you want to do a share screen and then just kind of talk
Yeah,
about how you feeling about the current piece that you're working on and how it's flowing for you and why you chose this specific one. If you didn't say that already.
Share screen.
And then I will jump into some more storytelling because I have something pretty cool to reveal here. So,
Oh,
you guys are going to pretend like you haven't seen it before. So here we are jumping into.
Am I sharing it?
It is just popped up. Yep, we can see it now.
So
pink and
here's the
purple.
original art by Bill Galvin. It's like I said, a sketch cover. I'm tracing it. And I'm just trying to, like I said last time or the first time, learn the software and learn to draw, and I'm just trying to, learn by doing what other people are better at. To me, stop share. I'm feeling a lot more fluid with this than I did the last time. But I'll just keep being a writer. What's that?
I think it looks pretty good.
Thanks, Troy.
You're welcome.
Bill Galvin did a really good job.
I'm done with mine, so I'm going to move on to the next one.
Nice.
Little baby Betty.
How do you feel about this? Did it give you? Is there anything that you thought that you improved on, or needed to improve on, or how did that process go for you?
I think she's adorable. I think she's. If it was digital, I would start coloring it, but since I'm, don't have a means of coloring it without smearing all my ink, I'm going to leave it as it is.
Send it on over.
I like it. Maybe I could scan it and color it.
Cool. All right, and then I'm going to show off. Before I go into some story time, I'll just give another look at where I am sitting with my drawing. And just have to always remember which buttons to press to get me there. And once again, this one's a way more involved than the well, I guess the turtles one I did was pretty crazy too, but I have a feeling I'm going to do a lot of reworking once I'm just in my normal routine of drawing and inking and all that without where I can pay full attention to it. But I'm just going to kind of show people here for anybody watching. Um, where I got the creature inks here, and I can bring into the Betty inks, and I'm going to get rid of the creature pencils. And normally I don't do like the color drops. I love going in and just having a different layer for colors, and I just purposely like just doing it all by hand and just kind of going through, especially if I want to change it. And so I like having that extra layer for colors. So, but for the sake of this here, because I'll be working on this one forever otherwise, I'm just gonna kind of see how things pop in when I just drop just a normal solid green in here, and to kind of show off that the ink lines staying there, and for anybody who's just interested in the process and such. But yeah, when I actually do this, I'm going to be going in individually. But when I go to the Betty inks, I'm going to see if I have everything in the right layer, because I still kind of learning this myself. I'm going to pick a skin color and just see what happens here. And if I did this right, there we go. Nope, I didn't do that right. So yeah, basically I have to move around my layers because I'm going to circle something here. Because as we see, the arm is not behind the leg, so I think
Right.
that's all just in my my layer organization. But I'm going to back all that up because I'm going to go back. I just kind of wanted to show that off for anybody that was
It's
curious.
gonna be it's gonna be hard because you have the arm behind the leg and the hand in front of the leg.
Yeah, and when I go through, once I'm actually concentrating on, if I can move around some layers and some of that stuff might show up behind it, but I'm just gonna simply go in and start erasing certain lines now that I
Yeah.
have it. But yeah, this is something that I really want to just kind of get pretty detailed, especially when dealing with a swamp type creature to get scaly details and stuff like that. So yeah, this one's gonna, once again, when people are watching this, they're gonna see the final edition. You guys won't see it, but just wanted to make sure we're doing some share screen, just kind of show that off. Okay.
That would make a really cool print too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Creature Betty Lagoon.
I
I
definitely
would like that.
I definitely want to spend enough time on it in this episode. By the time we're recording this episode won't be out for a while, so I've got plenty of time to go through that. One thing I want to bring up is another fan mail question from Leslie, who was in our first episode as well. She goes, I would like to know everyone's honest thoughts on Riverdale, the TV show, and if they've seen the show and what is their favorite crazy plot. Now, out of all of us, I'm pretty sure, just guessing, but I think I'm the one that has seen every episode, multiple times. I think I'm the completest when it comes to Riverdale. And when I answer about crazy plot, I'm going to keep it, uh, crazy enough, but spoiler free for anybody. But let's go around the horn. Let's start with Rogers. Have you seen? What's your honest thoughts on Riverdale from what you've seen, and any crazy plot that you wanted to kind of talk about?
I think I've only seen the first season, but I might have seen the first 2 seasons. I don't want to spoil anything for Troy over here because he's day by day getting more interested in the show. I can tell.
Okay.
No. Okay. Do you care if I spoil anything, Troy?
Go for it, buddy.
Okay.
Go for it.
The last
Possible
thing,
spoilers, everybody.
yeah, spoilers from here on out. But the last thing that I remember happening was Mr. Andrews got shot. And I can't remember if that was the end of season 1 or if that was the end of season 2.
I think the end of season
Luke
1.
Perry too, and he was hospitalized. They didn't know if he was going to make it, and then all the stuff with Jughead wanting to be his dad's best friend was going on too. And he's like, "You got to join the biker gang." And then Betty was like, "Don't join the biker gang." And then Jughead's like, "I think I'm going to join the biker gang." But like that's all I saw, and I wanted to watch more, and then I just never did.
Now I know the second thing I'm drawing. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's one of those rare shows where currently where they still do like, the network, 43 minutes, and they do these 20 plus episode seasons when you're so used to getting like, 6 to 10 episodes on streamers and such. So it's there's a lot of river. It's easy to fall behind because we're kind of built to kind of just get these shorter episodes and further seasons between. So
Yeah, that's like it's the only show I can think of right now, and I don't watch a lot of like current TV, but a lot of shows have gone like this season has 8 episodes, this season has 10, or they split the seasons in half. So you have season 5 part 1, which is 6 episodes, and then but Riverdale's like, here's 25 episodes, and man, are they insane.
yeah, they're within like 2 or 3 episodes story wise. That's enough for like a normal show's season to stretch out for 20 plus episodes. But Riverdale does that in like 2 or 3 episodes. And it's just everything's just so fast paced and hyper and crazy. I'll talk more on that later. But let's jump over to Fife. Uh, Honest thoughts on Riverdale, and if you've seen it.
I watched the first season. I was entertained by it. But I was watching it as it came out, episode by episode. And when I do that, I kind of lose the plot a lot, the overarching plots. So I never got around to rewatching season 1 before season 2 started, and then I never got around to watching season 2 at all, or 3, 4, 5, 6, or what, 7?
Yeah, at the time of this recording, we are in the 7th and final season. We have probably about I think half of it left, maybe.
But since talking to you, I have grown very interested in taking the time to watch this show. It sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I tend to, I got a pretty big hype game, I think, and to some people, may think that I'm, you know, hyping or complimenting something too much, but with my I loved it from day one. I love the fact that it's so fast paced and crazy and over the top and very self aware in the humor and uh you know I'm a big fan of like teen drama shows when you're going back to like 90210 and Dawson's Creek and the OC and One Tree Hill, Gossip Girl, all those kind of shows and this and Glee, and all of that together is kind of what I'm getting with Riverdale. And Roberto, the showrunner and creator, had spent some time working on Glee, and that made sense. Like once I started seeing the style of the writing and the fast pacedness and all the stuff that I mentioned, I could see where he took a lot of that inspiration from Glee, whether or not he brought that to that show or was inspired by it to bring it into Riverdale and adding in the musical acts and stuff like that. And it's still very Archie when it comes to having musical numbers and the Archies and doing things like that. So I unapologetically absolutely love the show, and I understand why people are say like the show's ridiculous, but for the reasons why they think it's ridiculous is exactly why I love the show. And to talk about a crazy plot without going too deep into it, there is one character who hangs around with the corpse of another side character, and during like the majority of the season that is happening where you just see this corpse kind of propped up and this person's talking to it, and it's the most bizarre, ridiculous, weird thing that's happening. And I say that because that is still not the craziest part of the season. That's just one of the normal things that's happening. So that's usually what I kind of like pitch the show on, just for how insane it is. And each as the seasons go on, being the one person who is all up to date, um they start dipping into other genres and get into some horror and some superheroes, and they start working in some crossover type things. They start deep diving on Archie Comics lore and really kind of you know putting stuff out there for Archie Comics fans. And they're just basically in the last two seasons are just throwing everything at the wall and being like, they are ending on their own terms, but it very much feels like they're just like, all right, this is it. Who knows when a show like this is going to happen again, to have the freedom to go so wild on Archie. We're just going to do everything everywhere all at once. Wait, that's a different thing. But yeah, yeah. So that is my overall thoughts on that. Let's jump over to Troy and your honest thoughts of Riverdale.
Can I ask can I ask one question real quick? Did you say they're not ending? Like they didn't choose to end the show? They got
Uh,
canceled?
they are ending on their own.
They are ending on their
Yeah,
own.
they
Okay.
had like
Okay.
a big time, like I think it was a 2 season renewal possibly, but writing the seventh season, they knew that this was it. And I don't think it was ever said like, all right, it's canceled. Now you guys have to make up an ending. I feel like they were given enough time. So everything's gonna watching season seven right now, I can start seeing some of the full circleness start to kind of come together. And I'm so excited for whatever that last episode's gonna be.
It's probably going to be crazy.
Yeah, just to say the least. Let's jump over to Troy. Honest thoughts on Riverdale, the TV show.
Well, I've seen all except the last episode of season one. And the reason why I didn't watch the last episode is because it seems like all the storylines from season one were tied up in the second to last episode. So I was assuming that the last episode was just going to preview, get you hooked on the storyline for next season. And we are going to be dropping Netflix soon. So I didn't want to get hooked on the storylines for next season yet.
Fair enough. Is
Uh,
there anything that's crazy that you've seen so far from what you watched that's just ridiculous to you?
are we allowed to talk about the pairings yet?
Uh, we can start if this wants to be the start of the discussion. You've been very patient with me shutting you down and censoring you, so let's have you start that conversation.
I really like the Betty Jughead element. I think that is great. Um, just not just like the romantic aspect of it, but also like them as mystery solvers with the newspaper solving the who killed what's his name? Shoot, can't remember his name. Cheryl Blossom's brother, Jason.
Jason?
Who killed Jason Blossom?
Yeah.
Um, I just really like that element of it. Um, that's it. I'm sorry. That's all I got. I
Uh,
like that.
so now you've kind of thrown it out there. Talking about the relationships, definitely the show has definitely created some things that we aren't used to in the comics, as far as Jughead having any interest with anybody other than his own appetite. But it has been very fun to see those actors uh, play those roles, and as the seasons go on, like any teen drama show, they do a lot of back and forth, and um, the relationships last to a certain point, they switch and then they go back, and it's just a constant, it's just classic teen drama writing right there. But
Mm.
this this question, this topic kind of branches off into um one of the most famous questions for 80 years running here is Betty or Veronica. Archie is always trying to make the decision between the two. He's usually looking at Veronica, and he's usually, pining over her and, leaving Betty in the dust. And she's usually, disappointed. But there are times that, he does bring his attention to Betty. But every time they do like the three on the straw, like maybe I'm wrong, but, a lot of times you see Archie looking at Veronica, and But yeah, that's always been the age-old question. So we will go around the table here, and let's start with Troy. Betty or Veronica?
Betty.
Here you go. And let's jump over to Rogers. Betty or Veronica?
Betty, just kidding. It's Veronica.
I was gonna say you've been lying to us for months now, just to reveal it like that on this episode. I wasn't ready for that.
I'm one of the correct people.
And Fife, Betty or Veronica?
Betty.
And Anthony, Betty or Veronica? Betty. As Pete LePage will say on the Comic Book Club live podcast, he always goes Betty all day, every day. So, but yeah, so there we go. Everyone has their answers. Please don't turn off the broadcast now, because I have something very cool to share leading into our next little story here. So
I don't know that like Anthony, me, or Troy will have, I'm not interested in your guys' viewpoints. I want to know what Roger sees in Veronica.
There we go.
I mean, not looks wise. I'm talking like personality wise. Like why Veronica?
Because looks wise, they're identical. Like
Identical.
one has dark hair, the other has blonde.
I mean, if you want me to be 100% honest,
Of course. That's what we're here for, right?
Yes.
it's because she has dark hair. That's what you go for, man. Brunettes all day.
No, it wasn't. There's nothing about the personality that gets you.
I mean, I wouldn't have to work if I was married to her.
Yeah, you like the security.
Yeah, I mean, her dad's kind of a sugar. Everybody's dad's a sugar.
Not my daughters.
When you're
Jeez.
Hey, Anthony, we need a sugar right there.
Yeah. I didn't even say a bad word.
You
What's
didn't
funny is
have
that I wasn't really listening, so I'm gonna have to. I can't wait to watch it back. So.
Oh man, he pulled a Fife. Roger started talking, so he just quit listening. But yeah, that's really all it is. I mean, and I view it as like, Veronica actually has a personality, and Betty kind of doesn't. Like, she's just a goody two shoes that lets Archie walk all over, and Veronica is like mean.
I like Betty's loyalty. I like that even though she does get walked over and walked on, stepped on, and all that stuff, but yeah, she still has a lot of loyalty, and will still kind of, even considering that with Archie's faults.
Veronica has a fashion sense. Betty wears pink bib overalls all the time. Veronica's wearing sweet dresses and stuff, jewelry. She has fashion sense. But I do like Betty when she goes into like detective mode, where sometimes it's Detective Betty. I remember one story where they were like breaking into like a animal testing facility or something in one story, and that's cool when she does that stuff, but she's just too boring. She's just too safe.
All right.
Yeah,
You haven't convinced me, but you have a viewpoint. It's not just I don't know what your view. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, to flip it around, why do you like Betty so much? What's so great?
Because I hate working on cars, and one time I read a Archie comic, and Betty fixed his car. If I had Betty, I wouldn't have to fix my car. Betty'd do it.
But if you had Veronica, you could just buy a new car.
I don't like new cars.
You could buy a new old car. Yeah, Veronica.
Dark hair's not that bad.
All right.
I'm feeling woefully inadequate to this discussion. but my daughter gave me it was like a Valentine's Day Betty and Veronica story, and it was talking about how Betty really likes Archie and how Veronica really likes how Archie likes her over Betty. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, she's kind of a, not cool. Just kind of, just, I don't want you to bleep me. I don't know the word to say without saying the bad word, but
Yeah.
yeah, I decided it on Betty then.
Good man, Troy.
All right. Well, we saw some art from Troy. We're gonna see some stuff from me. So in 2019, after a long, long, long time of not drawing, I started to pick up in September of 2019 and start drawing again. And I look back at my files and realized this was the first thing I, put pencil to paper to, and just drawing, the head of Archie. So I've got a couple examples here, and you'll see the progression of my Archie fan art. But I thought that was kind of interesting of seeing that that was literally the first thing I drew, and then the second thing I drew was this here, doing the classic three on a straw with Archie, Betty, and Veronica. And this is all just physical media, me just trying to spark up the old passion of drawing once again. And then I started to I thought it was interesting that I'm just not drawing any other characters, that it just in that mode I just like all right, if I'm going to start drawing again, I'm just going to draw all Archie related things. Here's a Jughead. Now all of these things that I've drawn are based off of existing images, and just looking at other people's styles, and just mimicking that. So yeah, here's a Jughead that I did as well. As I go through here, then I decided to throw some Sabrina in there.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Once
Mhm.
again, still working on all physical stuff, and we'll start to get to digital very quick here. Actually, the very next one here is when I decided, when I used the free Sketchpad app that's not Procreate, and I decided to make my own cover, much like Troy. But I did a Jughead cover here, and I did as a homage to Silver Surfer #4, with the surfer coming down at Thor. And so I put Jughead going for a plate of burgers that Betty's holding, and got Archie and Veronica, even though it's not my preferred pairing, but they're smooching in the background. But the one thing I like, and I don't know where to find the image on here to zoom in because I have all of these like windows open. So, um, but I put a little crab in the background there in the sand with a question mark. Because if you look closely in Archie Comics, you'll notice a lot of the animals that are just kind of walking freely in Riverdale. There's no owners, there's no leashes. They're just casually walking around like they're people. And you'll always see them kind of reacting to our main characters, and sometimes, most of the time, being like a question mark. So I wanted to throw in a crab that was witnessing everything that was happening, and wondering what's going on.
Very confused crab.
Yes, yes. So yeah, there was that's when I start to get into the digital aspect. And this one I did the three on a straw, but I decided to shake things up by drawing my favorite artist, Mike Allred and Laura Allred, and putting their character Madman in the middle as they're all sharing a root beer float. And yeah, so that was something that I just kind of randomly came up with. And
That's awesome. I dig it. There's this little guy. Where is it? Where is it? Which panel? This one. Right by the finger. There's a little kitty cat.
okay,
Yeah.
Got the question mark going.
that's awesome.
See,
So yeah,
I have dreams of one day coloring Archie. And I have like portfolio pieces
oh,
where I have done color work on original art pages that I found on Google. I have that
Nice.
one, and then I got this one of Betty and Veronica, and then we
love it.
got this one with Betty and Veronica. I mean, look at Veronica. She's so stylish. Has her scarf,
I like her sweater.
right? And look what Betty's wearing. She's dressed like a 7-year-old girl going to school.
But her shirt underneath the overalls is nice. So
Oh, yeah.
she's probably just fixing Archie's car.
Right. Yeah, that's what she was doing.
Working on the
Which way-
jalopy.
Grease on the bibs. The shirt stays nice.
I mean, look at Reggie's cool shirt too.
Yeah, that's nice.
Douchebag.
He is, man. He is. Yeah. So if anybody's watching this, it's like, man, that's a really good color work. We should throw a page or two Matt Rogers' way.
Yeah, hit him up. You see his handle there in the corner in the credits of the show. Yeah, awesome.
Telling you. Boom.
All right. Well, hopefully, what I'm about to show off is going to live up to the coloring work we just seen. Well, it's great because the next thing is a black and white piece here. I wanted to do some retro, classic, original Betty. So here's one. Once again, I think I just looked at just the style of it and just mimicked it, but that was one that I did there to do Golden Age Betty.
I like it.
It's awesome.
And let's see here. I got a couple more. Okay, this is when I start to get into things that I really start getting the hang of things because now that was all from a Sketchpad app. And this is when I start using Procreate. So I love the movie from the 80s, Adventures in Babysitting. And I decided I wanted to do an homage to that. And I tried thinking of an idea. So I came up with this piece here. And I tried figuring out what characters to use, and I realized that I had to throw Jelly Bean in there to kind of get the babysitting theme going on. So I decided to, because I'm like, Veronica's not going to be hanging out on the side of a building. I thought about putting her like drinking, champagne in a window or building in the background or something. But so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get rid of Veronica and have Jelly Bean, Jughead's younger sister, hanging off of him. So yeah, that's a piece there I pulled off, and then I jumped into. I was getting the hang of things, so I kind of want to keep following that path. And I did this awesome Josie and the Pussycats.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
Very nice.
I honored several different outfit designs when it comes to like the prints and everything to kind of do a bunch of different eras and just kind of represent all of the different colors and stuff that they've used, whether it's the comics or the cartoons and such. And then for some reason coming up with the Charlie's Angels homage there, so I drawing like the animated silhouettes there, and but the whole thing is like I think it's the cover of a Charlie's Angels DVD set or something.
That brings me to, I feel so weird using the phrase ship, but that brings me to another ship that I kind of have on this series is Archie with I can't remember her name, the backup singer for the Pussycats.
Valerie?
Valerie, yeah. I like that.
Valerie.
I
Yeah,
like
I
that.
totally- Yeah, I totally dug that as well. All right, and then I have I'm going to show. Let's see. I'm going to show this one first. Nikki, who is the one who had been submitting the questions. I took an actual photo of myself and her family with her husband and children, and I decided to just kind of redraw it, but in an Archie style. So here is us as if we were Archie style characters.
Nice. Eat your heart out, damn parent. You're not
Yeah.
the only one with Archie portraits now.
And then I wanted to save this one for last because it is probably my favorite. For some reason, I wanted to find a way to mix Archie Comics with the movie Dirty Dancing. And I'm like,
Mhm.
all right, is it going to be, Archie holding up Veronica or Betty, this or that? And like, oh, maybe it'll be, I got to draw some more Jughead. Maybe it'll be who should he be holding up? Am I going with Betty to follow some Riverdale ships? And I'm just like, wait, no, this is the only answer to who he's going to hold up. He is holding up a giant party sub. Um,
Yeah, he is.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that one.
Oh,
You can't show that on here. Jeez.
boy, I'd like to eat that thing.
All right, before it gets awkward, let me take that off the screen.
Too late.
Uh-oh.
All right. So that is. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. No. Oh yeah, I got this too here. So big, big fan of Sabrina. So I got to meet Melissa Joan Hart, and I decided to wear my Archie Comics shirt there, which she commented on and said she likes my shirt. And I'm like, well, I hope you like the cash that she gave you for this awesome photo. But yeah, here's me with 90s into 2000s Sabrina, the teenage witch. And as luck would have it, about a year later, I got to meet the other Sabrina that was on television with Kiernan Shipka, who plays, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina on Netflix. And I brought the first issue of that comic book series that inspired the show. And I asked if she wanted to just point at it like she's turning the pages with magic. And then in post, I added just I wonder if I can let me close out some windows here so I can actually zoom in. Doing share screens is pretty new to me here, and I just have all of these windows open. Man, I got a lot of windows open. I'm going to do this in post, so everyone's looking at it right now. Look at those little effects that I added, the magic effects.
Man.
I like the page turning. That's nice.
Very cool.
It took a while for me to like get it because the photo ops go really quick, and I don't want to waste anybody's time. And I usually have props, and then I have to do a very quick pitch to ask, if they want to do something. So like my fingers were about like just starting to cramp up as I'm trying to like hold it while it still makes it look like I'm just holding it, like I'm reading it, but then try making it look like the page is turning. And yeah, I was pretty happy, even though my fingers were in pain during that. So
The
my
sacrifices
fingers
that you make, man. So good.
Does she play the daughter in Mad Men?
that
Yes.
she does. John Hamm's daughter, yes.
Yeah, okay. That's where she looks familiar.
Do you guys remember Archie's Weird Mysteries cartoon?
Yes, I've got the
Nope.
DVDs of it.
They put it out on DVD?
There are, yes. Actually,
Like the
David
full
from
series
Crim-
or
What's that?
the full series or
I'm
just
pretty sure it's the full series. I haven't revisited in a while, but yeah, it was David and Kurt from Crimson gave that to me as a Christmas present. So I'm going to bring that up here. But
nice?
The only thing I don't like about like the older animated Archie stuff is they always give Jughead like the worst voice that I've ever heard. He like sounds like a really bad like Jerry
Casey
Lewis
Kasem?
impression. He's like, oh, good. I'm just like that. Everybody
All-
knows Jughead sounds like a stoner.
all those characters have crazy voices, and I'm probably going to throw a clip in here for people to see a little sample of it. So
Well, boss place to look for sunken treasure, Archie. Ooh, what a boss place to look for sunken treasure, Archie. Why don't you dry up?
Drop anchor, Jughead.
Aye, aye, Skipper. Oh, now it's Master Overboard.
I haven't seen it in years. I does it hold up?
well, it holds up enough for me to own it on DVD just because it's great. But you don't binge watch this. So you watch one, and then maybe a month later you watch another one.
That's not the show I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do have it right
Oh,
here.
okay,
but just-
okay.
yeah, just because he mentioned those voices.
I'll slow down.
No problem. But yeah, so they do have the complete series of the Archie's animated series, and then there's some Josie and the Pussycats, which have many other series as well, including
You know
the
them real quick, man. That Josie and the Pussycats movie from like the early 2000s was so good.
I've never seen it.
It was so awesome. Yeah. There it
is
is. I mean, as far as movies go, it's really not good, but it's so awesome.
I didn't
Rosario
know.
Dawson. Rosario Dawson, Troy, if you haven't seen it.
Oh, I love
Yeah, who is that? It's Tara Reid is the drummer, and what's the girl that plays the main? Is that Jennifer Jason Leigh?
Rachel Lee Cook.
Rachel Lee Cook. There we go.
Yep.
Almost. You can cut that and make me look smarter. But yeah, it's like basically they're this punk band, like a pop punk band playing in bowling alleys, and then some dude hears them and they manipulate the band. They hide all these messages under the music, and they basically like make everybody want corporate goods. And they're like, they turn them into total sellouts and they just jump in. It was a really clever way for them to hide all the corporate sponsorship that went into getting the movie made.
it.
But it's awesome.
And here it is, Fife.
Nice.
The complete series.
One disc.
Nice.
Never even.
How many episodes does it say?
Looks like 10 maybe.
Wow.
Yeah, I have the complete series of the Legend of Zelda cartoon. It's on one disc and there's like 9 episodes.
Well, excuse me, princess.
Exactly.
I've got that and Captain N, Game Master, and all that stuff.
Oh man, I have the Mario ones. I don't have Captain N. That one was awesome with the worst Mega Man in the world. Ugh.
Now, here's a real test. Has anyone seen Archie Return to Riverdale, otherwise maybe known as To Riverdale and Back Again, the 90s TV movie?
Yeah,
I have not.
I watched it once.
It's special.
Yeah, I wish I had that time back, but I watched it once.
So yeah, I've got the VHS tape here. You can watch it on YouTube and stuff too. And Jughead has a Sugar rap, which I am going to quote unquote legally share a snippet of that. I would like to put the whole like 2 to 3 minute version on here, but I'm not sure if that's allowed. But people right now are going to listen to this Jughead rap.
Sugar. Aw, honey, honey. You are my candy girl, and you got me.
So yeah, Jughead does this crazy rap, and there's a lot of weird stuff going on here. But it's I don't know. I love everything Archie, so I like big swings.
That's awesome. Yeah, are you gonna what's the new show that's coming out? I don't want to come off like racially insensitive, but I think it's from India. Is that
Correct.
what it is? Yeah.
The Archies, yeah.
I watched the preview for that, man. It looks really cool.
So yeah, they're doing the Archies with the cast from India, and it is going to be a Netflix movie that will be available to us here in the States. And it sounds like it's maybe going to be in fall or winter. And they recently collected this the Archies in India collection of stories. And Dan Parent was invited to Comic-Con over there and had the best time. He had the coolest like booth setup. It was like nothing I've ever seen before at a Comic-Con, and so I got to talk to him recently about that. And yeah, he was treated like a rock star as he should be, well deserved. But yeah, so it'll be a Netflix movie.
Do you know, is it based on anything in that book?
I don't think so, because I was gonna wait until we had the premiere date, and then I bought this, and then I was gonna read this leading up to it. So
Oh, gotcha.
I am assuming not.
The trailer looks really cool.
Yeah, I'm assuming not, because we do see our classic version of the characters as we know them here. So I'm assuming we'll get a new take and stuff. But yeah, I'm excited for that as well.
Look at Troy with the awesome Jughead.
Oh, that is cool.
I was gonna put Southside Serpent's tattoo on there, but I don't know what that looks like. I don't want to.
I think they modeled the logo to closely resemble his classic S shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a canonical thing that his S shirt means, or is it just it's an S shirt?
I actually know this one.
Whoa.
The writer at the time, who I don't know who it was, but based it off of a neighborhood called Skunk Hill, I think. Skunk Hill? I think it was called Skunk Hill, and then in the comic he changed it to Squirrel Hill or something like that.
Okay.
Anthony, you know what? I thought I knew, but I don't know.
I'm sure I knew at one point, but it's not coming to me in the moment. So
Well, that's cool. That's super cool. I love it. I'm gonna
Cannot.
need to get art lessons from you, Troy.
I don't think so, sir.
There's
I think
there's a couple of things that you do really well that I have never been able to do, and one of them is hair sheen, and the other one is um, metal reflections. And you put them in Kid Slapshot all the time, like with his knee pads and stuff, and just the shapes and all that. Every time I do it, it just looks like a jumbled mess. So one day I'm going to get you to teach me those things.
I'd be happy to teach you. I'm not sure how to teach it, but yeah. Okay. Bertolet has stated, I don't know who Bertolet is, but that the S insignia refers to a location called Skunk Hill in Haverhill, Massachusetts, which Montana turned into Squirrel Hill. The S alludes to a combination of the location and Montana's elementary school athletic team near Haverhill called the Tigers.
Nice. S is for tigers.
and we're
Yes.
referring to Bob Montana, who is the creator artist of Archie. For those wondering.
Okay.
Nice. Nice. Awesome.
Okay.
I dig it.
So the next bit of storytelling is what I've been waiting to reveal, and knowing that we were going to do this episode, I decided to save it for this. So within the recent year or two, Dan Parent, who is the been working with Archie for over I think 35 years, and done a lot of awesome stuff over there. And one of those awesome things is creating the character of Kevin Keller. And they did a Kickstarter here of a giant 700-page hardcover celebration of Kevin Keller and collecting 10 years of his stories, and it is awesome. And one of the rewards for the pledging tiers was something that made my jaw drop, and I'm like, I didn't think this would be an opportunity, and I had a number in my head, just being like, all right, this is probably going to cost this much for this kind of thing. And I was surprised of how inexpensive it was compared to what I was like kind of just making up a number in my head. And I saw it and I'm just like, all right, I'm doing it, because it got me the hardcover, got me the Kevin Keller t-shirt, which is hanging up right here in my background. It got me a bunch of bookmarks and sticker sheets, and like there was like 3 or 4 prints, I think. There was tons of stuff included, as well as the very rare opportunity to be drawn into a future issue of Archie Comics. And I kind of went pretty crazy when I found that out. And, Archie Comics, I've got my original copies here from, 35, years ago or so, and still holding on to them. And Archie's been a big part of my life. And I'm like, okay, I can be a very small part of Archie Comics history. And so, long story short, I've been thrown into a Betty and Veronica digest, which was definitely an awesome reveal. With as I showed off, those original digests that I have are, mostly Betty and Veronica. And it's Betty and Veronica Jumbo Comics, sometimes known as Betty and Veronica Double Digest, issue number 309, and is an issue, a Christmas issue that came out in November of 2022. And so, what they're doing with these new digests is leading with a brand new story, and the rest of the book, that the remaining 150 plus pages, are reprinting stories throughout the decades, and this one being a Christmas themed one. So it leads with the new story that is called All Wrapped Up. And this one's done by Dan Parent for story and pencils, Bob Smith on inks, Glenn Whitmore on colors, and Jack Morelli on letters. And it is a 5-page story in which Veronica realizes that she had maxed out some credit cards. The Hiram Lodge got the credit card bill back, and I'm sure it's a story that's been done many a times, but it's always, it's a classic story, and this is this set of creators' take on it. and she is forced to get a job at one of Hiram Lodge's shops in the mall and over at Shempley's, and she's going to be wrapping Christmas gifts, and she realizes that she's never done that kind of labor before, and she recruits Betty into helping her with that. That's just the setup of the story. It's a 5-pager, so I'm not going to spoil the second half of it. But I had to do all of that because as Betty is showing off on how to do such a thing, on how to show Veronica how to wrap presents, there is a panel over here in which there is a very recognizable face to our Cartoonist by Night crew here. One of the classic Archie background cameos is you go out and just look into a lot of Archie comics and notice that whether they're real people that are friends of the people drawing it or it's just random, but there's usually one of these kind of characters, much like the confused animals, where they just are looking at the main characters and they're kind of focused and spotlighted. And as you can see, I'm definitely sharing a panel here with Betty and Veronica. And Dan Parent happens to know that I am a fan of Betty because, unlike Archie, he has my eyesight lining over to Betty in this specific interaction.
Awesome.
So here it is, 80 years of Archie history, and I happen to be a very small part of it. Now, it's small because these digests are printed small, but the original art is printed on 11 or drawn on 11 by 17 art boards and paper and all the technical terms that the other guys in this group know what to say. So I had befriended Dan Parent over the years, and a lot of that was influenced with all the money I would throw at his table for awesome comics and prints and commissions, and that's a key. If anyone wants to get on the inside, just give one of your favorite people some cash when they're trying to sell something. And so these are the original pages here, and they're all done in black and white, pencil and ink, and they do the colors digitally. And these pages went back to Dan as he was the penciler for the story, and he gave me a quote on what my page would be, and gave me a quote on all 5 pages to own the complete story. And I am 100% buying all 5 pages. So here they are, just showing that off for anybody who's not familiar with original art pages, kind of just seeing how the scale of it is drawn compared to what I just showed you. But here we go, page number 3, to see the original art for my cameo as I focus it on the screen. So yep, there I am, the original art there. I was just blown away by it. I won't show the other pages due to spoilers. But yeah, so that's one thing that I've been looking forward to seeing in print. It finally happened. I could not be more happy with it. I would have been very satisfied if I was just a random head in a crowd at a football game or something. Just be like, hey, if you look closely and squint and maybe take out your magnifying glass, you'll see that that person sort of has the facial structure and shape that I do. But I would have been completely fine with that. But then he sent me the pencils last summer and just go, hey, let me know what you think. And I was just blown away, just being like, wow, I'm like, there are 3 characters on this: Betty, Veronica, and this random creep in the background that looks like me. So,
Hey, they got the hoodie.
yeah.
And the cool thing about that is they reprint their stories so much over the years that
Yeah.
you're going to be in Archie Comics like until the end of time.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be keeping track of that, and I'm hoping that when they do the single floppy issues, when they do the Christmas ones and stuff, like eventually this one's going to be considered an old story and will eventually get thrown into a floppy issue too. So my plan is to try and keep track of whenever this story is popping up, so I can keep buying it time and time again. But
Yeah, they should give it to you for free. You're in it.
yeah, you think. It's kind of funny because people are just like, "Did you get paid to be in that?" And I'm like, "Oh no." I'm like,
Quite the opposite.
but I'm like, and zero complaints because it was based on everything I got, including the hardcover and all the goodies and stuff. I'm like, when it came down to that number, I'm just like, for me, I thought that was a heck of a deal. So it was a real swell of a deal, if you will. So,
Oh,
but yeah,
oh,
that is the big reveal. Betty and Veronica, Jumbo Comics, also sometimes known as Double Digest. Betty and Veronica number 309 if you're using the CLZ app. But yep, that's the cover there, and I appear in there. So if anybody wanted to run out and get my first appearance in Archie Comics, there it is. I can
Will
now
you
put
sign
that.
it?
I will actually, and I've
Uh,
signed one of them because the first copy I gave to my mother, and so I got to reveal it to her in person as I showed it off, and then I signed her copy. Dan actually sent me this one along with the art, so he signed that one there. But so this was Dan's copy, one of his comps or whatever. But yep, then I placed an order over at Archie.com and got a couple more, and then yeah. So yeah, that is the kind of the big reveal I wanted to show off there. Going through my notes, basically we've reached all of the kind of talking points. One of the things we do is we get towards the end of the episode is kind of showing our progress. I'm not sure where we're all at, and our Zoom window here includes the time that we started unrecorded. So right now I have no idea how long this episode is, but it feels like we might be getting to the end. Um, let's check in with Troy that you are working on what your third sketch here.
I'm just doodling at this point, trying to see if I can figure out how to draw in the house style. But so far, no luck on cracking the code for the Archie house style. But I did uh, Jughead showing off his Superman tattoo since I didn't really know how to do the Southside Serpents tattoo. And then I got uh, Little Betty and her.
I think I might still keep calling her Baby Betty just because that we said the first time, and Baby Betty.
Yeah, it does look. She does look like a baby, but she.
Have they done
Darn.
Archie babies like Muppet babies at all?
They have. They have.
Yeah.
So one of the earlier issues of Archie World of Archie Double Digest, the cover shows Archie babies on there.
You just see like Miss Grundy's legs in there the whole time. Yes, Nanny.
would it be bad to do like geriatric Archie and just make it so that like Reggie died, so he's not there to be a jerk anymore? And they're
I
just at
mean-
the nursing home.
I mean, I think there is an audience for that. That would, I think it's a
It does, death happens to all of us, so why not?
Not
It
me.
even happened to Archie as well. The death of Archie.
I remember that.
Dun, dun, dun.
Happened in both storylines. If I remember. correctly.
I'm gonna go ahead and show, like I said, with me doing a lot of talking and I had a lot of fun stuff to share, and me being very new to drawing and having a conversation and all that stuff. I did a quick mock-up of what the colors may look like because I'm gonna fully finish this on my own time, but so people will see the version, maybe not. They'll see the it's coming up here. There it is. They'll see the version that you guys are seeing right now, and then where I just did like a quick like color mock-up, and then when I was doing color drops in this one, then I could see where I didn't close certain lines because I was drawing and inking quick, and the characters are overlapping. So now she's got some bikini bottoms that are the color of the creature, and her one eye is I guess she's maybe winking in one of those. And of course, the characters aren't in the right position. But right now is when the audience, are going to see the final version, which I assume turned out beautifully. So look at that final version that we are all pretending that we see right now.
I gotta tell you, Anthony.
Wonderful job, Anthony.
That's my
Thank you.
favorite final version.
Yes, thank you. I'm very proud of it, and it's the most final of versions I've ever done, and I can't get any more final than it.
I think you should be very proud of that.
But yeah, I know this was kind of a complex one, a lot of stuff going on for me. But I think that's going to be maybe a little, hopefully that'll improve as we continue to draw and I continue to sharpen some skills. But oh boy, what do we, let's focus on Rogers here because I just happened to look at his screen and I'm wondering, I'm just going to guess if he's drawing maybe somebody who recently made a cameo in an Archie book. What do we
Looks
look
like it.
Yeah. It's what
Uh,
number was that? 308?
no, yeah, 309. I should have that memorized by now. 309. And you gotta I know you quickly like to erase things. You gotta at least screenshot that, or I can screenshot it and post because that's something I want to treasure. So,
Oh, I was
uh,
in. Get rid of those. Boom. Yeah. What happened?
oh, that's awesome. See,
Oop.
there we go. I think when Troy had stepped out, I kind of talked to Rogers about how obtaining a style, which is something that probably just happens that you don't just try to be like, well, I'm just only going to draw like this, but I look at that, and I'm just like, well, I can tell that is the guy that created Happy Astronaut and drawn and all that stuff, but very easily I'm just like, oh yeah, that definitely looks like me if I was walking in the background without a spacesuit on.
You're
Yeah.
in that universe. Yeah.
This is the main reason why this show exists. So I can have this, people drawing me for free just out of randomness like this. So I can't wait to see Fife draw me someday.
It'll happen. It won't be good, but it'll happen.
Speaking of Fife, if you want to hit the share screen and kind of see the progress, and like I said, I think we probably can slowly wrap up here. I'm going to get some closing thoughts on Archie Comics. As I did in the preview of this episode, asking for fan mail and such, I said that I was probably going to talk a lot, which I'm sure I did, but hopefully everyone got to say what they want to. But we're going to open that up to the floor very shortly. So we're looking at Fife's piece here. If you want to talk us through what you're doing.
I am now coloring it. And that's
Cool, man.
So, yeah.
It looks
I was-
awesome.
I was just listening to a podcast where they were talking to, I think it was Stephen Colbert, and they were just kind of talking about certain things when you get stories about pre-interviews where they're just like, oh, ask the guest about what their thoughts on working on so and so, and that will set them off into a story, and that'll naturally create a story. And so Stephen asked that guest, being like, oh, so I heard that you were working in so and so, and the guest was like, oh yeah, I was. And then it just kind of a story didn't naturally come from there. So I had a little bit of I don't know what I expected you to explain, but it's me not trying to it's allowing everybody to talk. So it's kind of funny where I'm like, all right, let us know what you're doing. And you're like, well, I'm coloring.
I'm usually a few words. If I
Yeah.
talk too long, man, it just starts not making sense.
Yeah. Hey,
I feel you.
I'll
okay.
get better.
Oh boy. What? Okay, we got to focus on back over to Rogers on he's adding more stuff here. Oh boy, I'm scared of what's happening here. Okay, there. Fuck. I thought he was going to misrepresent me. There's still time now that I mentioned it, but no, I think this looks good. And how crazy is it that Dan Parent, conceived of Betty Cooper as the Silver Surfer or the Silver Cooper, and the fact that I love that character so much, but then there's a version that Betty looks like the Silver Surfer. I mean, what more can a guy ask for? So,
Dan's awesome.
Yes, he is.
so what
You
I
know
want
what else is awesome? Is
Yes.
Roger's signature.
Yeah.
Rogers has a great signature.
This thing right
Look at
here,
that. That's somebody that has spent time writing their own name.
that is
That-
somebody that practiced
Cool.
their signature for a long time.
Yeah. But it looks great.
It's very fancy. I enjoy it. It's all
Super
about the
fancy.
swoop. You got to get the swoop on the M.
If
Very
people
cool.
if people were to look back when I was showing all of my Archie art from 2019 forward, if they look at those first couple, they'll see my ANT signature, um, and it'll just be AN, and then I cross the N to represent the T. But then as the pieces go on, I decided I'm like, I should just make a T its own thing. So you'll see how I kind of we've seen my process there, but that might be a whole episode just Rogers explaining his signature process.
Well, one idea that I had a long time ago, in case I ever got to table at a convention, Cincinnati Comic Expo, we'll be there this summer, is if you're a jerk to me in line for any reason, because I have a D in my last name, I'm going to sign your book without the D so that it will look like you forged it.
A different Rogers, yes.
They didn't even pay attention to the fact there's a D in there. So I practiced that one too.
But yeah, I agree with Troy. Like looking at like if I were thinking of a signature, there's a lot of great ones out there, but Ryan Stegman comes to mind. Superstar artist Ryan Stegman, who I think he has two different ones because he does draw like a little Stegosaurus as part of his signature, which I'll probably put the image up here. So post future Anthony has got us covered here. So let's all ooh and ah over the Stegman signature that we are 100% seeing it live right now.
My
Wow.
favorite one.
Super great. That's the greatest ever.
Yeah.
Well, Walter Simonson also's got a great one too.
Yeah.
Also a dinosaur.
Really, man, are you reading my mind? 'Cause, man,
I mean, he said dinosaur and signature, so
that's
probably.
what I was pulling up. Walter Simonson has the coolest signature in the world.
You know who else has a dinosaur signature? Now it's weird that I didn't think about Walt Simonson's, but the other dinosaur signature, if you ever heard of Earl Sinclair, have you ever seen his signature?
Like from the TV show Dinosaurs?
And that is the joke. Thank you, everybody. That has been my time. Please take a look, Chris.
I was only half listening. I apologize.
No, Earl Sinclair, the main character of 90s Dinosaurs. Sinclair,
You're so up to date on comics and pop culture, and I'm like, who knew? This name sounds familiar, but why don't I? Okay, not the mama.
Can't talk about signatures without talking about Rob Liefeld's chisel signature.
Right.
Those chisels are cool. See if I can pull one of those up. Nope. Okay.
So you're giving me work to do where I have to now put it in post?
Probably.
I feel like you could graffiti your name like on the bathroom at the Taj Mahal, and people would think that it belonged there. The way that your signature looks.
Look at that thing. Oh, Liefeld. You know everything you need to know about a Rob Liefeld comic based completely on how he signs his name. That and the fact that all of his faces look like him, which is pretty common, I've discovered. Like, because you are the best reference when you're drawing. And his characters all look like him. And Frank Quitely, all of his characters look like him. Even the women. So Scud the Disposable Assassin, the creator of that has a shirt that he has a store that he links to on his Instagram, and it's like shirts and stuff that you can order. And he has a bunch of Mad Men related stuff. And I didn't know, is there like a connection there? Like you can buy a white t-shirt with the zigzag exclamation point from him. He has other stuff that actually has the character of Madman.
And not to go all red super fan, but the exclamation bolt, as they call it. But yeah, I'm wondering if so all red, what he's done over the years, over the decades, is having artist friends, whether they drew Madman or he commissioned them to do it. But his house, he's got all of these original art pieces of all the other designs from other artists drawing the Madman character. And I might have I think I can show it off here as long as I don't trip over my my set here. they released this Madman 20th anniversary monster book, which was many years ago now, so it's way more than 20 years. And while he would feature the artist commissions on their take on Madman as the back covers of some of the 90s comic books over at Dark Horse and such, they put them all up as big posters basically. So you see all of the different creators doing their take on Madman, and you just see so many different styles and made trading cards of all these. So I've got all the trading cards and all that stuff. So I'm going to do some research on because I don't know much about the Scud character and the creator, but I wonder if he was one of them that's featured in this book and maybe did some Madman fan art.
His name is Rob Schrab. Schrab. So yeah, he does. Man, Scud's so awesome.
This is one of my favorite ones here. Yeah. And I actually bought a second copy of this so I could tear out all of these, and I've got some hanging up as poster prints basically. So I have them all in the giant book, and I bought a second copy just so I can tear them out and hang them up. So,
And a similar note, you can go to a fine comic book store and you can get Scud the Disposable Assassin. It's called The Whole Shebang. It's a nice big old fat black and white comic. It's a book. It's awesome. It's done through Image. Let me see the page count on here. It doesn't have one. Awesome. Yeah, it's the whole thing.
it's a whole lot of Scud.
It's very good. I love that guy.
The whole shebang.
It's the whole shebang, man.
All right. So what I want to do here is kind of go around. I've said a lot of stuff about Archie. In case there's any lingering thoughts or impressions or whatever anybody wanted to say, or you can just say I'm good. But let's start with Troy. Is there anything that you kind of wanted to say? To I'm sure we're going to revisit this topic, later down the road, and there's always a lot to talk about Archie. But is there anything that you wanted to say yet as we wrap things up?
No, I'm like we had mentioned before, I'm sort of new to it, and but I am enjoying it. I've bought just a boatload of digests that just arrived today from Lone Star Comics, from mycomicshop.com. Looking forward to reading them. I've had them on my nightstand. Yeah, I got that one too. It's one of the ones I got. And actually, you know what? The older ones that I got are less expensive than that new one. So just because you're in it, the value just it doubled, man. It's almost cover price. It's almost worth cover price at this point because of your cameo in it.
So any artist listening out there, I think you know what to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to put the cheese wielder in there.
The cheese slinger.
The cheese slinger. That's right. No, I do hope that we revisit this so that I'll have more to say next time, because they are charming as can be. I'm enjoying reading them before bed.
I mean, I think it's a big plus to this episode having someone who is very new to it, because it gives a different perspective, and we're all talking about our childhoods over here. So I think it was great that you are new to it.
And I think the way that you described it as like the palate cleanser is a very, very good descriptive for it. It's a great palate cleanser, not just between reading other types of material, but also like palate cleanser for the day. When you are going to bed, just grab the double digest and read a couple little stories on it. Detoxify the brain, man.
Wherever I'm at, I'm always have Archie Comics there, obviously in the house, but in the back seat of my car, I always keep a digest in there. And once I finish it, if I'm waiting before a movie or something like that, then I just swap it out with the next one. So I always have one in the car. I always have one sitting at work. A truck is late, I'm going on break or whatever. So yeah, I make sure that I'm always, and I now did the same thing with my cameo. So I have a copy of my cameo wherever I be, so I can continue to show it off to people. But But yeah, it truly is the go-to joy that it's just like, yep, I need some good. I need Archie, pratfalling and acting like a goof, and I need Jughead,
Yeah.
just not caring about anything other than his appetite. I need Betty fixing up the jalopy and fawning over Archie. I need Veronica being too full of herself and stuck up and not as cool as Betty. And then Weatherby and Flute Snoot and you know the whole cast of characters. Grundy. Yeah, we could probably do a whole episode on Principal Weatherby. So.
Let's talk about casting. Casting for that show for
Yeah.
Mrs. Grundy.
Okay.
Miss in the book, I don't have one of. Well, I'm sure I do because I have a stack right here. I just don't have it I don't have it loaded up so I can just show you a picture of Grundy from the comic.
I'll find her.
But she's a very elderly woman.
Hmm.
She's almost like what's her name, Big Ethel.
Big
Um,
Ethel.
She's almost like an elderly version of Ethel, kind of drawn, not real great looking and ancient old.
She's like Aunt May in the original Spider-Man comics.
Yeah, exactly. And then you look at the show, and oh my goodness,
Well,
the actress on the show is
I know why they did that. It's
so
because
that
I don't want to watch Archie by lady.
well, that's just like I'm wondering, like when they're writing the show, and they're like, okay, here's all the characters we have from the comic strip. What about this Aunt May type character? Did the writers of the show be like, I know, let's have Archie have an affair with her? Like,
Yeah.
no. Respectfully,
Uh,
I think I'm because it's like I was the only one at the house interested in it. And like when I would turn it on, people like even my 8-year-old, like he's rolling his eyes like, geez, Dad, why are you watching this? This is a soap opera, right, Daddy? Like, yeah, I know, but I gotta get to the end of the storyline. So, like I said, the second to last episode it wrapped up all the lines, nice and neat. So,
well, the show only goes off the walls after that. So.
I finished my picture.
We got
Well, that's perfect time. So let's do a share screen, and then Fife, if you had any final thoughts on that you wanted to throw out there for our Archie episode, just Archie comics in general, go ahead.
I wish they'd get back to releasing monthly comics, monthly standard format comics. I know they're still doing the horror specials every month or so, but I'd love to get an Archie 714, I think would be the next issue.
So going back to the ongoing story, but in a month-to-month format.
Right, and it could be the new Mark Waid, Nick Spencer universe, or it could go back to just classic Archie. I don't really care, but just having comic-sized Archie would be great.
And what
So
they go ahead, Troy.
they didn't do floppies for those new ones. It just went straight to trade paperback.
No, for the they're only doing the digests primarily now.
Well, I mean, like the Nick Spencer chips.
Those came out in floppies, but like right around the time COVID hit, they wrapped up a storyline, and it seemed like they never got back to doing the floppies. I don't know if there was a reason or if it was just COVID and Anthony, you have the reason.
Well, I'll say is that there's still there's not the version that you're asking for specifically, but for anybody listening, while they do have the horror one shots, they do like a summer special, and much like the digest where they lead it with the new story and they have reprints related to summer and the beach and stuff. So they still do come out with the floppies, but they just have a 5-page new story in the classic style. But it's not the the Fiona Staples and Mark Waid type of run. But just for anyone wondering, they do still come out with new floppies in that sense.
Is that the like I just ordered one because it was Archie dressed up as Indiana Jones. Is that what
Yep.
you're talking about?
Yep, so they'll do that. They just had a video game one where they all look like driving Mario Kart type stuff. And so those ones, like the digest, lead with a brand new story, and then they'll have video game related stories or adventure related stories.
Gotcha.
And they're
Okay.
the $2.99. They've been $2.99 for a while for those. So
I think something that Archie Comics does great is that they still have distribution in grocery stores, and like no other comics do.
Mhm.
And like I live in a rural area, and it's nearly an hour for me to drive to get to a comic book shop.
Yep. Same
So
here.
there's no such thing as an impulse buy on a comic book unless it's an Archie comic book at the grocery store. And I did today even. I had one in my cart, and then I told my son to put it back. I said it was a Comic Shop Chaos, or I think that's what it's called. But I'm like, oh yeah, this seems pretty cool. I want to get this one. I like comic shops. I like these stories.
oh yeah, chaos.
That's right. Oh yeah, Chaos. And then I told him to put it back because I have like 6 or 7 digests that are just sitting there waiting to be read on the nightstand. Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
The
that
Anthony's like,
distribution model is, I mean, they're the only ones doing it now.
right. Yeah, I was talking to you about that. How it's like I used to buy my Venom comics at
Mhm.
Walmart. Like they just
Mhm.
had them at the end of the rack over by toys. And I wish I still had them because the ones that I had are worth a ton of money now. But yeah, like I don't know why they don't. Like even if you're not ordering from Diamond, like it just seems like you should be able to, they should sublet it to somebody to allow
Well,
distribution like that.
the spinner racks, from what I understand, the newsstand editions were returnable. And so if a gas station didn't sell that issue of Venom, they could return it back to the distributor.
Mm,
And so the comic book company would be paid, and I may understand this all incorrectly, but this is what I have heard, is that the comic book company would sometimes be paid and then sometimes have to refund what they were paid, versus with the direct market going straight to comic book shops, what they order they're stuck with. So if they get 400 copies and they don't sell them, they're sticking 400 copies in their back issue bins.
I gotcha. That makes sense, but I don't like it.
No, it's better for the company, but you know, the trade-off, you know, more secure finance now, but the trade-off is that you've got now at this point 2 generations of people that, unless they live near a comic book shop and you know have somebody to take them, they're not going to discover them without you know without intention. Whereas
exactly.
we discovered them accidentally in the grocery stores and the gas stations just because they were present. So you've got a couple generations worth of people that are not getting that experience.
Weak.
Yeah. And then they're not, what's gonna encourage those groups of people who didn't fall in love in the grocery store and the gas station, at the pharmacy, what's gonna entice them in 20 years when they're the purchasers of comics to take that trip over to the comic book store that they never developed any kind of affinity for it?
Right.
Boy, we're getting into Darwin Cook, you know, type rants here. People,
Reed Parker.
if you're still watching, go to YouTube and look up Darwin Cook talking about how to fix comics.
Man,
I'll make a note of that right now.
He's a great dude. He was a great dude.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Yagums to Darwin Cook. So
Yep.
Then
We should have an episode on Darwin Cook.
We should. That would be a great one. So this is my complete.
looks awesome.
Beautiful.
Thank you, sir.
this is my complete.
Nice.
He's holding a hot dog.
And then once again, let's take a look at my complete that we are all seeing live right now. Oh, look.
Ooh.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
It
I
is
just-
gorgeous, Anthony. I love it.
The beast. Classic.
Thank you.
And here's mine.
There we go.
Nice.
Good job, Bill Glavin.
Beautiful. He's so nonchalant. He's just like, I'm flying. I got a sack of food.
Yeah, his eyelids always drooping down on every drawing of him in that classic style kind of get to me. Like he's smug head.
So...
All right. Well, I think it was another great episode here of Cartoonist by Night. It was awesome hanging out and chatting Archie Comics, which every topic we talk about is probably going to be just a part of the overall discussion of everything, because we can never have enough time to talk about the stuff that we love. So yeah, thank you for everyone tuning in, checking that out. Highly recommend staying tuned after this episode to see all the links on how to follow us. All that stuff is in the credits. So yeah, I think that's the best way to do it. But the main important thing is subscribing to us on YouTube. I was going to say Crimson Call Comic Club, which you can subscribe to them too. But Cartoonist by Night on YouTube, how you're watching this right now. Hit that subscribe button, hit a like, leave a comment, be part of the show with some fan mail and such. And yeah, and if you're seeing, actually, if you're seeing this, it's already going to be done. But what I'm doing for anybody for future episodes, if they're late to get some submissions on fan art, I am going to create a little section in the editing to allow some late submissions to be thrown up. So. All right, that is going to do it. We're all just kind of randomly showing things off now, so I guess I'll just show off the original
show
art.
off that one time I was in Archie Comics.
Yeah, I mean, why? I mean,
All right, Anthony, you won.
Yeah, you win.
Yeah, no kidding. Show
Well,
off.
with that being said, I think it's if I look over here out the window, it looks like the sun is starting to come up, so it's time to get back to our day jobs.
Ugh.